ॐ गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनः शृण्वन्नोतिभिक्सीदसादनं प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामवित्रयवतो गणेशाय नमः सरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरः ॐ श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः सदाशिवसमारम्भां श्रीकण्ठाराध्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां सदाशिवं शिवां स्कन्दं केशवं पद्मसम्भवं नन्दीश्वरं कुम्भयोनिं भरद्वाजात्रिगौतमान् नमोऽस्तु गुरवे नित्यं श्रीकण्ठशिवयोगिने श्रुतिसारशिवविशिष्टाद्वैत परभाष्यविदायिने जगद्गुरु श्रीकण्ठाराध्या रेणुकाराध्य मङ्गलं देहि प्रभो त्रैलोक्यसम्पदालेख्यसमुल्लेखनभित्तये सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय शिवाय ब्रह्मणे नमः यामागुक्सर्वलोकानां प्रकृतिं शास्त्रपारगाः तां धर्मचारिणीं शम्भोः प्रणमामि परां शिवाम् अमृतार्थं प्रपन्नार्तां यासु विद्याप्रदायिनी अहर्निशमहं वन्दे ताम् ईशानमनोरमां तदीचिम् उपमन्युञ्च मार्कण्डेयं पराशरं श्वेताचार्यं तच्छिष्यं नीलकण्ठशिवाह्वयम् देवदेव महादेव देवानाम् अभयप्रद ब्रह्मनारायणेन्द्रादि सर्वदेवपदप्रद साम्ब शिवाय नमः. Thank you all for joining. So we successfully saw the Gita Jayanti classes. In the Gita Jayanti classes, how Lord Shiva is the essence of Bhagavad Gita and how Lord Shiva is the object of meditation and object of surrender according to Bhagavad Gita. So I'll be uploading the remaining lectures. So we saw that 3 weeks back I started off with the Shiva Mahapurana Katha, where we started off with the Rudra Samhita. I have already covered the Vidyeshwara Samhita for during the Shivaratri 2021. So it is available in my playlist. So we started off with the Rudra Samhita. So before starting off, we saw about how Shiva Puranam and Lord Shiva are described as Shuddha Sattva, in the pure mode of goodness. It is beyond, Mahadeva is beyond Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. He is Shuddha Sattva. That's how he is described as Yash Shuddha Sattvaha in the Upanishads. So not even a tinge of Tamas or Rajas is present within Lord Shiva and Shaiva Puranams. So we saw how Shaiva Puranas are completely Shuddha Sattvikam, and we saw the Pramanams also from the Shastras. So one can check out that playlist that is available in my channel. So one can check out that first lecture that I gave. And after which we started off with the Shuddha Sattva Purana, Shiva Mahapurana, Rudra Samhita, Creation, Section 1, first chapter. So we saw 12 verses where actually the sages are aspiring, they are wanting to know about Lord Shiva. So, O Suta Maharshi, because Suta Maharshi is the one who gives the Katha, Shiva Katha, and then they say, our ears are not satisfied after hearing the Vidyeshwara Samhita, but we want to know more about our dear Lord Shiva. So that's where the question is posted by the sages, and then Suta Maharshi begins to respond. So aguno gunatam yati katam loke maheshwaraha shivatatvam vayam sarve na janimo vicharataha. The sages, still there are some questions asked by the sages. So he is described as aguno, means he is beyond. Aguna means not nirguna, he is not someone who doesn't have attributes. He is beyond the 3 attributes. Basically, he is not bound by the Sattva, Rajas or Tamas, and he has divine qualities and divine attributes. He is not bound by material attributes. His form is divine and spiritual. His form doesn't have destruction. So even this is beautifully brought out by our dear Shrikanta Radhya in his Shrikanta Bhashyam, because an objection is raised. If you consider, because he says the divine features and divine form of Lord Shiva alone should be meditated upon. That's what he says. And then an objection is raised. He raises an objection, then he answers that objection. So objection is raised. So if you say that Lord Shiva has a body, then he is also bound by, this sorrows and pain, anger, these kind of things, right? So how do you answer that? So that's the objection. And then he answers, Lord Shiva is not bound by sattva, rajas, tamas, or he is not bound by kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, and his body is also not bound by any of the his body also is divine. It's not made of like flesh or bones or blood. So it is completely divine and spiritual. He is not affected by sorrows or pain or anger, anything. So because he is beyond the three modes of material nature, it is very difficult for us to it is very difficult for our mind to take that, but that is the true fact. That's why his features alone are described in the Vedas and Upanishads. So he is beyond the three modes, and he answers by giving that. So he is not affected by pain or sorrow or any kind of the material things like anger or anything. So he is beyond that at the end of the day. And how does he take up that divine form? So how is his form described in the Shastras? And that's the question. And Shiva Tattvam Vayam Sarve. So we are not aware of Shiva Tattvam. Shiva Tattvam is the highest Tattva. So Tattvam, so like we have the Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, three things. That is what is described as Pashu, Pati, Pasham in the Upanishads. Pashu is the Jivatma, Jiva Tattvam. So starting from the blade of a grass till Vishnu, everybody are Jivatmas. And then Pati, that is the Lord, the Supreme Lord, Parameshwara. And then Pasham is that bondage, this worldly bondage. And that is what is described as Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. So Jiva, and then Jagat, that is this entire universe, Ananta Koti Brahmanda. And then Ishvara, that is Lord Shiva. So that Shiva Tattvam. So Jiva Tattvam, Jagat Tattvam and Shiva Tattvam. So we are not aware of Shiva Tattvam. And this is the same question that is also asked in the second chapter of the Sutta Samhita to Suta Maharshi. Again, the sages ask, who is the ultimate cause of this universe? It cannot function by, automatically. Some people say Big Bang Theory and those kind of things. It cannot function automatically. There is a personality behind this entire universe and the cause of the Jivas. So who is the cause of this universe? Obviously the Jivas cannot be the cause, because the Jivas themselves are undergoing various problems. They are bound by miseries and they are bound by Kama, Krodha, Lobha. So they cannot be the cause of the universe. So who is the ultimate cause of the universe? And also the Jivatmas. That's the question posted by the sages to Suta Maharshi in the second chapter of the first canto Suta Samhita. And then the Atharvashiras Upanishad, Upabrahmanam comes there. And that's where Suta Maharshi provides the story of the Atharvashiras Upanishad. So that entire chapter is the supporting fact of the Atharvashiras Upanishad. And that's where here also they question, we do not know. This is how we have to question. So we have to have that, oh, okay, I completely know about Lord Shiva. That mood should not be there. Only if we go in the mood that, okay, I don't know anything about him. In that way only we have to approach. And then only that Shiva Tattvam can be little bit understood by us, or else not otherwise. Because if we go in Ahankara, we cannot. Gurum Pranamya, it says, Kaivalya Upanishad, Antyashramastaha Sakalindriyani Nirudhya Bhaktyasva Gurum Pranamya. Pranamya means with humble prostrations. You have to offer your prostrations to the Guru, and with utmost humbleness you have to seek that Guru who is in Shivanishta. So the humbleness is very, very important. Even after having the vision of Lord Shiva, Nandishvara, Upamanyu Maharshi, Dadichi Maharshi, Shvetashvatara Maharshi, Shveta Maharshi, Markandeya Maharshi, everybody, they said, what they said is, even after having the vision of Lord Shiva, they said, we cannot understand you. We can never understand you, O Mahadeva. It's only you who can understand yourself. And Upamanyu also, when he was explaining Shiva Tattvam to Krishna, he says the same thing. No one can understand Lord Shiva in reality, but I can explain about Lord Shiva to the level I can. To the level I can. That's what Upamanyu Maharshi says. So there is only some things can be understood about Lord Shiva. Mahadeva only can understand Mahadeva. That's what Narayana says also to the sages in the Kurma Puranam, second canto, Ishvara Gita, first chapter. Oh Mahadeva, you can only, Swamatmanam, only you can understand yourself. So you yourself reveal your tattva to the sages. So that's where know the true nature. We do not know the true nature of Lord Shiva. And despite our great deliberation, we have been thinking, despite our great Janimo Vicharataha, We have been doing that vicharam. Vicharam means in Sanskrit deliberation. So we have been doing that by ourselves, for a long time. And also vicharam should not be done alone. So here also the reply comes, a guru should be there. They go to Suta Maharshi and ask this question. So that's where we need to also have a Vaidika Shaiva guru who is guiding us in this path. So despite our great deliberation, we are not able to understand Shiva Tattvam. So please explain. And then they go on to talk about Srishtehe Purvam Katam Shambhu Swarupenava Tishtate Srishti Madhye Sahi Katam Kridan Samvartate Prabhuhu Tadante Cha Katan Devas Tishtati Maheshwaraha Katam Prasannatam Yati Shankaro Loka Shankaraha. So how did, how does Lord Shiva create this entire universe? Before the origin of creation, how does he look like? And then what are his leelas? And how does Maheshwara stand at the time of dissolution? When everything is destroyed, how does Maheshwara, what happens? And then how does he bless everybody with happiness? Shankaro Loka Shankaraha. So Shankara, that is Lord Shiva, Loka Shankaraha, who gives happiness to the entire universe, all the worlds, including Brahmalokam and Vaikuntham and Golokam, Indralokam, Skandalokam, everything. So the entire universe, all the worlds, he gives happiness. How does he do that? So, here also, like if you see, Purvajayacha, Mahadeva is described as Purvam to everybody. Jyeshta, Shreshta, all these names comes for Lord Shiva in the Upanishads. And Namo Jyeshtaya cha Kanishtaya cha Namak Purvajaya cha Parajaya cha Namo Madhyamaya cha Pakalpaya cha. He is present before the creation, he is present in the middle of the creation, he is also present after the creation. So he is Purvam to even Brahma and Narayana. He creates Brahma, Narayana and Rudra. And then again, as from his partial Amsha appears sometimes from the forehead of Brahma or Narayana, and then that partial expansion, Kala Rudra, helps Brahma and Narayana in creation and maintenance of this universe. And then at the end, when everything is destroyed, Brahma, Narayana, Kala Rudra and Indra, they merge into Paramashiva. So Mahadeva alone exists. There is no one who exists at the time, at the end of the creation, the dissolution happens. But the creation, maintenance and dissolution are only for the material worlds. Parakailasha always exists. Tadhama Paramam Mama. So that Paratpara Padam, that always exists. Saprasanno Maheshanah Kim Prayachati Satphalam Swabhaktebhyah Parebhyascha Tatsarvam Katayasvanaha Sadhyak Prasanno Bhagavan Bhavititya Nushashruma Bhakta Prayasam Samahanna Pashyati Dayaparaha. So what benefit does the great Lord confer when he is pleased? So whenever he is pleased, what does he give to his dear devotees? And then also Lord Shiva is described as, we have heard that, the sages say, we have heard that Sadhyak Prasanno. So he becomes pleased very instantaneously. And then the merciful Lord is unable to bear the stress and strain that his devotee undergoes. He is not able to see, whenever his devotee is in any kind of sorrow or pain. Mahadeva is Karuna Sagara. He is not able to bear that. So this describes how Lord Shiva is compassionate. The divine, the qualities are described. He cannot be like someone who is formless or something like that. Of course, formlessness is described as an attribute of that formed Maheshwara. So he has compassion in everything, divine attributes as explained in the Shastra. So he is not able to bear whenever his devotee is under distress. He becomes pleased instantaneously, and that's why he is called as Ashutosh. Ashutosh is one of the names of Lord Shiva. So he becomes very pleased instantaneously. And when Nandi did terrible penance to Lord Shiva, Mahadeva appeared in front of Nandi, and then he, whichever you want, whatever you want, you can ask. Do you want to become the Lord of the universe? Or you want Ashta Aishwaryam or Ashta Siddhi? Or you want a beautiful, charming body? Or if you want, Indrasanam or Brahmasanam or Vishnu Asanam, Brahmatvam, Lokapalatvam, Shakratvam, 213th chapter of the Varaha Puranam. But whatever you want. He can grant even the positions of Brahma, Vishnu and Indra. But Nandi replies, I don't want anything in return. So this is how a devotee should be. I don't want any of these. All these are temporary, O Mahadeva. Even Vishnu Asanam and Brahma Asanam are temporary. Only a fool will be interested in that. So what I want is Yatanyecha Bhavet Bhaktim Tvatto Nityam Maheshwara. Give me a boon where I will worship only you eternally. Nityam, note the word. Nityam. Eternally, I should worship only you and not anyone else. Only you. That is another point to be noted. Because Shiva Ekodhyayaha. He is the only object of meditation, only object of worship and only object of surrender. He alone gives all the Bhoga and Moksha. We don't need to go to any other Devata like Brahma or Vishnu. And then Brahma, Vishnur, Maheshascha, Trayo Deva, Shivam Gajaha. So we have seen that. So we saw that yesterday also. Brahma, Vishnu and Rudra, they are born out of Lord Shiva. Maheshwara, that is Rudra alone has that partial amsha of Lord Shiva. And then Maheshwara and Sadashiva have that complete, Purna, complete manifestation of that Paramashiva. But Brahma and Vishnu are Jivatmas. So all these three are born from Samba Shiva. That's what it's. So we saw that yesterday also, like the references in various Puranas are there, where Brahma is created from the right hand and Narayana is created from the left hand of Lord Shiva, and then Rudra originates from the heart or the back of Lord Shiva. So please enlighten us with the various forms of Parameshwara or Maheshwara. Tasya virbhava makyahi charitani visheshataha Uma virbha vamakyahi tad vivaham tata prabho tad garhastyam visheshena tata leelah para api yetat sarvam tadanyaccha kataniyam tvayanaga. Please explain the manifestation of Lord Shiva and his various divine activities, his sports. Now whatever Mahadeva does, that is divine. And then please tell us about the divine birth of Mata Parashakti, Uma. So she doesn't have birth, she just appears. So please tell us about the divine appearance of Mata Uma and her marriage to the Supreme Lord and their life and then their divine sports. Because there are various Leelas. Kartikeya appears and then he kills Tarakasura, Jalandhara is murdered, and also Shankachuda is murdered. Various Leelas are there of Parvati Mata and Parameshwara. So please enlighten us about that. That's what the sages ask. And then Vyasa Uvacha. So this is told again, this is like these 88,000 Maharshis in Naimisharanya are listening to Suta Maharshi encountered, and this is told by Vyasa. Okay. So Vyasa Uvacha. Iti prishtas tada taistu suto harsha samanvitaha smritva shambhu padam bhojam pratyuvacha munishwaran. And Vyasa says, being requested by all the Maharshis of Naimisharanya, Suta Maharshi is very, very delighted and remembering the lotus feet of Lord Shiva. Shambhu pada ambuja. Padambhoja. Ambuja means lotus. Pada means the feet. And Shambhu. So with this, something struck my mind actually. There is in the Vairagya Shatakam written by Bhartrihari, in the 6th verse, he says, Dhyatam vittamaharnisham niyamitah pranaihi na shambhoh padam. Na shambhoh padam. So our mind is completely thinking of materialistic desires, earning money, sexual pleasure, earning fame, wealth and knowledge, those kind of things, material knowledge and everything. It is focused on those things, but it is not focusing on the feet of Na shambhoh padam. It is not focusing on that feet of Mahadeva, which is the only way to cross the ocean of birth and death. Nanyah panta vidyate yanaya. He says that very beautifully. Na shambhoh padam. Vyatam vittamaharnisham niyamitah pranaihi. Na shambhoh padam. So it is not focusing, the mind is not focusing on the Shambhu Pada, Pada of Shambhu, which even Brahma and Narayana are still searching for. And that is the only way to cross the ocean of repeated cycles of birth and death. As the Vedas say, Nanyah Panta Ayanaya Vidyate. So he remembered Suta Maharshi remembered the feet, lotus feet of Lord Shiva, and then he replied to the sages. Suta uvacha. This is where Suta Maharshi starts off talking. Samyak prishtam bhavadbhischa danyayoyam munishwaraha sadashiva kathayam vo yajjata naishtiki matihi sadashiva katha prashnah purusham strin punatihi vaktaram prichakam shrotrin jahvana visa lilam yatha. So Suta Maharshi says, "O sages, O divine sages, you have asked a very wonderful question. The questions posted by you are really wonderful. And you are blessed, you are really blessed that your minds are attracted towards Shiva Leela, Sada Shiva Leela. You are very blessed." And that's what Suta Maharshi says to the sages, because it's very, one should be fortunate to engage in Shiva Bhakti. One should be fortunate to get a human birth. And then he is the most fortunate if he engages in Shiva Bhakti, because one can go behind Brahma or Vishnu or worshipping Ganesha, Kartikeya. But worshipping Shiva alone is the ultimate of all. Shiva eko dhyayaha. Tatpara atparato ishas tanme mana Shiva sankalpamastu eko rudro nadvitiyaya. So, worshipping Shiva alone is the highest of all. And since you are asking about the Shiva Leela, you are very much blessed, since your minds are drawn to, since your minds have been attracted towards Shiva Leela. So, and then he says, like the holy waters, Jahnavi, Ganga is also called as Jahnavi. So, like the holy waters of Ganga, so it purifies everybody. Likewise, the Shiva Leela, Sada Shiva Leela or Parama Shiva Leela sanctifies three persons. Purusham Strin Punatihi. And again, here it says Purusha, right? So, sometimes it also refers to the human being. Purusha also refers to human being, and Purusha also refers to the supreme reality. So, again, the usage is important. So, when the Rig Vedam 10th canto 90th chapter says Purusha Suktam, it refers to Lord Shiva. Purusho vai Rudraha, Sarvo vai Rudraha. These Vedanta Vakyams come. So, that refers to. And then it can also refer to the human being. So, Purusham Strin Punatihi. So, three people get sanctified. So, one who is actually the narrator, one who is narrating the Shiva Leela, Shiva Katha, that is Suta Maharshi, and the person who is inquisitive. People who are inquisitive, and then people who are hearing. So that is the Naimisharanya sages. So three people get sanctified. The inquiry, the person who inquires about Shiva Tattvam, and the people who are casually hearing, and also the narrator. Three people get sanctified completely. And then Shambhor Gunanu Vadako Viranjyeta Puman Dvijaha Vina Pashugnam Trivida Janananda Karatsada Giyamano Vitrishnaischa Bavarogau Shadhopihi Manakshrotrabhiramascha Yattas Sarvartha Dassavai. So he says, "O sages, except for the people who actually kill the animals, because killing someone is actually a sin. Because even within the animals or anybody, Mahadeva is present as the Paramatma, Mata Parashakti and Paramashiva, Krishna Pingala, Himavadgiri Kanyakaha, Uma Sahayam, Ambikapati. So Paramashiva, along with Mata Parashakti on his left, is present as the Antaratma of all the living entities. So here the Suta Maharshi says, apart from the slayer of animals, apart from the people who kill animals, who can be ours to hear the beautiful attributes of Lord Shiva? People who involve themselves in killing any souls or any human beings or any animals, they will be ours towards Lord Shiva and the Shiva Leelas. And now we see in the name of Vishnu Bhakti, only Shiva Dvesham is happening. And that's why Suta Maharshi again says in the Brahma Gita, 2nd chapter, 43rd verse of the Suta Samhita, Veda Bhakyena Margena, Pujayanti Janardanam, Nindati Shankaram Mohat, Pashandopahata Janaha. In the name of Janardana Bhakti, in the name of Vishnu Bhakti, if one engages in Shankar and Ninda, if one engages in Shiva Dvesham or enmity, develops enmity towards Lord Shiva, then he is described as he or she is described as a Pashandi. So, and then the three types of people. So, the Shiva Leela is always delights, it gives pleasure to the three types of people. And Giyamano, so we go behind various pleasures in this world, right? So, that, the highest taste is deriving pleasure from hearing Shiva Katha and hearing Shivanama, doing Shivanama Sankirtanam. That is the highest of all. Giyamano. So, when it is recited by people who have no attachment or desire, it is described as the ailment for the worldly existence. And here it should be important, it should be recited by people who have no attachment or desire, no material attachment or desire, and then only with passion it can be spoken, or else not otherwise. And then it is described as an ailment for the worldly existence, for all the Jivatmas. Vaidyanatha, Vaidishwara, Mahadeva is described as. There are two meanings that can be derived. So one is that he cures all the ailments, any kind of disease you get, cancer or any, worst disease that you get, he cures that by worshipping the Vaidyanatha or singing the Vaidyanatha Ashtakam. That can be cured. And the second thing is that the most worst disease is the repeated cycles of birth and death. That's the most worst disease. So he gives a cure for that also. So that's why we say Bhave Bhave Nati Bhave Bhavaswamam Bhavod Bhavaya Namaha. Don't ever put me into the repeated cycles of birth and death. Mrityor Mukshiyam Amritad Mahamrityunjaya Mantram or Trembaka Mantram says in the Vedas. So it is only Mahadeva that we ask for moksha in the Vedas and not anyone else, not to Brahma or Vishnu.